Hello and welcome to Alternative Week 2014 City. Or, in other words, I'm Jonny Middleton and
I'm Travis Ward.
And welcome to Alternative Week 2014. And this is the fourth review of the series, guys and gals. And as you'll have seen earlier, we covered the band Faith No More. And the artists are covering, like, in this review, sort of like it's similar. It's like different to the stuff we've covered.
Yes, it's more diverse than the grunge, and it's more diverse than Faith No More.
That's true, and
so much alternative.
All would say like parallels could be like drawn between this band and Faith No More, so it's like musical diversity.
Especially with the vocal range and the rock sounds that they
Absolutely, I'd have to wholeheartedly agree with you there, brother. And yeah, the band which we're talking about, guys, gals, is the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
And we did have an album from this period. I do own Blood Sugar Sex Magic, but I forgot to bring it. I'll show it in the next video for what we're doing tomorrow.
So that's sort of like tied all together, but
just to emphasise that we do own an album from this period.
I only own this and Stadium Arcade and I'm with you. I don't own any of the albums in this period, so I need to add them to my collection at some point. But yeah, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they're sort of like different to like the bands that explore stuff. I would say like they're like the softest of them. Like,
well, I mean, probably the last band that we're doing is probably a lot softer than Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Maybe.
In the future, from what the period we're doing. If you look at them from a whole, if you guess from this period, they're one of the softest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, you know, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know, in this period they released 3 studio albums, those being four studio albums actually. The Uplift Mofo Party Plan, which was released in 1987. And so, yeah, I briefly, like, you know, ran over this. Like, it basically like, shows, like, the band, like, found their style, but there's, like, different, like, vocal ranges of it.
There's a lot more rock heavy track, less funk.
Absolutely, you know, like Anti-Kid's vocal range, like, there's different techniques used on those albums, like, different to what will come in the future.
Yeah. See, in the future you've got more, like, I guess you've got more group vocals as well, especially on Mother's Milk, as we will be looking at.
That's true, my friend. Did you say there's, like, a different bass player on the Uplift?
Not bass, no, it's always been Flea. There's been different drummers and guitarists from the beginning.
That's the one, yeah.
Since Red Hot Chili Peppers started in 1983, pretty much up until Mother's Milk, they never had a secure set of band members. It was always Flea and Anthony Kiedis, but there was multiple drummers, one dying in 1988 of a drug overdose, which led to the final completion of Josh Frusciante on guitar, John Frusciante I must say, and Chad Smith, who's been on drums ever since. Chad Smith, back in those days, was 6'3", riding a motorbike, long hair, was really into heavy metal, which mixed in with the funk.
And that's all like some sort of like the Red Hot Chili Peppers' general sound in this time period, because like, you know, with some like you know, the Uplift Mofo Party Plan, it's not as like you were saying, not just to demonstrate everything like what Mother's Milk does.
No, and when it comes to John Frusciante, he was just this young teenager where guitar was his life.
Yeah, when did he actually join the band? Dude?
I'm sure he joined in 1988, the same year as Chad Smith, I think, just before Mother's Milk.
So like both those like people featured on the album Mother's Milk.
Yes, John Frusciante. See, now they have Josh Klinghoffer.
It's confusing.
Yeah, John Frusciante was already on the band. They had a drummer before Chad Smith when they started recording Mother's Milk, I think, and he got kicked out. But Flea said that John Frusciante only cared about his guitar and cigarettes and stuff, and said that Flea said personally he did not know much about music theory, and this guy had revised it to the book. You know,
what a wedge. I guess like taught Flea in many ways.
Well,
how could you teach Flea?
Well, Flea and Chad Smith connected as soon as they started jamming together when they were traveling out.
It's like the chemistry going on. You can see like those like remaining aligned for quite a while.
You can also see in John Frusciante with that to the book. He's got a lot of textbook material, a lot of just renowned guitar riffs which people learn today.
Yeah, I mean, like, with Mother's Milk, you know, it really showcased like the general direction which Red Hot Chili Peppers were going in, and like there was a way in which, like, you know, their case were like, you know, critically acclaimed by both fans and critics over time in this period. You know, like Mother's Milk, it's sort of like a continuation of Mofo, but with like a different, you know, like more refined sound from Kiedis vocally.
Yeah, like, more commercial sound, I guess, more well produced sound, not as well produced as later on. Nah,
absolutely. I mean, like, you know, still remnants of greats working in that album, you know.
With their producer for Mother's Milk, they were a bit annoyed that their producer was more persistent on them getting a hit, which really annoyed them. I mean,
that's not really alternative.
I think the album charted around the 50 area in the Billboard 200.
Yeah, because I think the Chili Peppers at this point obviously weren't as popular as what came to be.
Yes, definitely.
You know, with Mother's Milk, you know, obviously the big single for the album is Higher Ground, and I showcase like the more like heavy metal influence, like say what Chad Smith had been into.
And there was heavier riffy guitars, less funk, especially, and Knock Me Down, another single from the album.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, the thing is, like, the Chili Peppers work is like so much like musical diversity on the album, so even including the Uplift Method Party Plan. You know, and this is like showcased on Mother's Milk. It's like where it's like sort of like the seeds of the following album will be planted with this release, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the example of diversity, for instance, like we were both saying about the first track that we did, like Good Time Boys.
Oh, how it just changes in between. It's like someone switched on a radio and it's skipping through different stations with different channel them. But this is intentional because I was listening to it earlier, and I had to click back onto Spotify just to see if anything had messed up. But no. It's just some diversity in the beginning of the song, so you never know what you're going to expect.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a song on the album afterwards that's like similar to this too. You know, and Mother's Milk, I guess I could be saying like, you know, like attention grabbing. It's sort of like, well, it's something out. It's like seductive in a way. Of, like, you know, it reflects the title.
It definitely reflects the title. Just as a naked woman on the front, it's
exposing their breasts,
and that's where
caressing.
That's where the band members are aligned on the album.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. Yeah, actually, like some of that music, like, you know, sexy funk.
It's sexy funk. They don't really give a damn about what they write. But not saying that they don't. I mean that the lyrics are very explicit.
Yes.
As on the Blood Sugar Sex Magic album that I own.
I mean, like the thing with the Chili Peppers is like more people might pay attention to the music, which they mean like the lyrics,
because they're not shy of using extensive language.
The thing is, like, you know, with Anthony Kiedis has like a vocal range, like it can incorporate like, it's like the funk style, you know, it's like so it's scat vocals or something, like, you know, bit of bound.
Yeah, and just the whole image on stage as well. They played gigs just naked as well. It's just like on that Simpsons episode.
I have not seen this.
Oh, it's on season 4.
I was Smashing Pumpkins. And...
Oh, it's the episode where Krusty gets cancelled and trying to get him back, and they're recruiting all these people.
Holy crap!
And so they're just part of that image. Just like naked on
Sonic
stage.
still stole my orchestra. Sonic Youth were in my lunchbox.
Oh yeah.
So Mr. France, you can't have all the watermelon. But anyway, guys and gals, yeah, like Mother's Milk was like, you know, it was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, like, you know, first exposure to, like, you know, like the mainstream audience, like success wise, and I guess those the music say like the artwork could play a part, but yeah, primarily about the music.
They didn't sell as much as further on, but it was a good introduction to people who'd never heard of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Absolutely, because, like, you know, it's about encouraging people to, like, you know, check out the album before, and the album before that, and the album before that.
To be fair, not many people had heard of them afterwards. Even after Blood Sugar Sex Magic, they had not many people heard of them.
They went on like a 4-year hiatus, but we'll get to that. And yeah, like after Mother's Milk, you know, like the band really, you know, were accessed to the mainstream with the release of their 19 album Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Yeah, they signed to a proper label. They were tired of EMI and they signed to Warner Brother Records.
Yeah, it seems to be. Oh, was it EMI major label when Mother's Milk was released? Would you say, Dave?
I think so. Yeah. I think I know they're on. I'm sure they're on Warner Brothers when they signed to Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Yeah, was it like Uplift that like wasn't on the major label?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a recurring theme of like bands that decide to major label like a real good album. Like, you know, like Red Hot Chili Peppers, like, you know, fulfilled that when they signed to Warner Brothers, as you were saying.
Especially with the producer they have, which was Rick Rubin.
He's a notorious producer.
Him and Butch Vig.
Many great albums with those partnerships. You know, and as I was saying earlier, dude, like the reference to like the Angel Dust Haunted Mansion style.
Yes,
Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
It was Blood Sugar Sex Magic, which was recorded in a haunted mansion which Rick Rubin bought. It was a mansion which Harry Houdini lived in back in the early 20th century. And there's been many albums which have been recorded since. It was first Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and then the likes of Slipknot and Linkin Park and System of a Down have recorded albums there. And but funny story that Chad Smith.
Quite domestic bands there, dude.
Yeah, indeed, a lot. I guess more progressive metal sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, the happy, like, I get like sort of like, I don't know, like cool vibe from.
Red Hot Chili Peppers don't fit. Like
nah.
Dark vibe such as the Haunted Mansion, but I don't. They didn't want him in a big studio. They didn't think that would bring out the best in them.
Wow.
I don't think. But yeah, Chad Smith, he
didn't
want to stay in the mansion. You know, thought it was haunted. There is reports that it's haunted, and John Frusciante.
Recorded there too.
John Frusciante said there was a happy vibe through ghosts. He believed there was ghosts as well, but he said there was only warmth.
I guess that's some like Red Hot Chili Peppers actually attitude it to a T. Now he's like happy go looking guys making awesome funk, rock and heavy metal. So
it just occurred to me is that when when Chad Smith was signed to the band, he had this long metal hair, but Anthony Kiedis also has had long hair, but he wanted him to cut it, but seeing as he was 6'3", I wasn't going to argue with Chad Smith, so it's a bit strange.
I mean, hell, you're 6 foot around, you do.
Yes, with
so
metal
I wouldn't want to mess with you either. Yeah, I mean, like, there's more, like, you know, people recognise songs more on Blood Sugar Sex Magic than what they do on Mother's Milk. I mean, it starts with the song "The Power of Equality." You know, it immediately draws you like it's a funk rock.
It's got some of the rock which is taken from Mother's Milk. It's still a heavy rock, but here's where the funk really begins and all the melodies.
You can
really
tell like you can tell like Kiedis like really refined his vocal style as soon as this song kicks in. And you know, there's like 17 tracks on the studio album alone, and
it's quite a lot of tracks on Mother's Milk as well.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing like, you know, so much diversity musically, but like, you know, managed to incorporate all these like loads of songs. You know, you can get like, you know, the first like, you know, like big song which is track "Re-Breaking the Girl."
One of the singles released from the album.
That's true, my friend. You know, it really, you know, it doesn't like sort of, you know, it's more like a relaxed song.
More melodic.
Yeah, that's true, and you know that's what the Chili Peppers do well. You know, like melodic
really
style.
Focuses on Anthony Kiedis' vocals.
That's true, because I actually did a cover of this song, if you can remember.
Yeah, music video does not feature John Frusciante.
Really?
Nope. It wasn't the first single released. The first single was "Give It Away," which really hyped up their commercial success. I think it didn't go. It might have gone to number 1 in the charts. I'm not sure.
It really did. Like, you know,
Under the Bridge was well, they said Under the Bridge was the highest, really which was 2 in the charts. And these you'll think of Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I'm pretty sure you'll think of Under the Bridge and "Give It Away."
Yeah, but like, you know, the songs are just like, you know, those 2 tracks mentioned. It's also like
"Suck My Kiss," which is more funk, has a lot more funk in it.
I think that's like starting to become more popular. It's
more bass heavy.
Yeah, so it's like included on its like greatest hits album as well. You know, that really like garnered the attention that it received. You know, there's also songs like the song "Funky Monks" I was talking about earlier. It's sort of similar to "Good Boys Lost" or "Good Boys Time."
Funky Monks also the video series released after the making of the album, as when they were in the mansion, Flea's brother filmed them making the album. It also features a similarly to Tattoo Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, it's like on the back of the album artwork. Like, so it's better if we had the tattoo once it do, but
just show an example if no one's seen it.
Yeah, but so again, the sound like, you know, it's still showcase like the heavy metal sound of the band exploring the early releases, such as is it something in B major like mellow or something? Like Mellowship, something in B major.
The Mellowship in B major or something like
that. That's the title and a half.
Yeah, they've got some strange tales.
You know, this is where like, you know, the funk is really driven by, would you say it's like really driven by Flea's bass guitar, dude?
Especially, Flea plays bass a lot different to many bassists, and
it's one of the most revered and whole.
I wouldn't say he's the best though, in my personal opinion. He's good at what he does, but I don't know. I just feel there's some better bass. Like people who do bass primarily as their instrument, like solo work. But
well, I know
Flea, you know, a lot of people who start playing bass look to him as what he plays.
Because, you know, just like the Chili Peppers like popularity and stuff.
Just that he's just as prominent as John Frusciante on the album. You'll have him in one ear and then Flea in the other. Yeah, and you know, John Frusciante and Flea make like a great partnership. You know, as well as obviously like, you know, the Funky Monks and the B major song. You know, we've also got like the big single of the track like Under the Bridge, which you know is probably one of the most Chili Peppers most iconic songs. An even more melodic song, also featuring opera singers, I guess.
During the middle,
in the bridge. It's not in the bridge, isn't it?
Yeah. During the bridge, under the bridge. Yes. Yeah, it really drives on like the diversity that the Chili Peppers had on this album. You know, it's like
Mother's Milk, just wanted to mention, has a lot of like sax and trumpet sort of stuff.
Yeah, that was like sort of. I guess that was like sort of
brass instruments.
Yeah. Again, like diversity. You know, like the Chili Peppers just like a plethora of like sounds. I can see like a lot of people like this. Like all the instruments used like can appeal to a lot of people. I suppose.
What you said yesterday is that I don't know anyone who doesn't listen to the Red Hot Chili Peppers and doesn't like bob their head or something.
That's what I'm thinking too. You know, there's so much about the funk. You know, it just makes you want to like groove and stuff. But I mean, like, yeah, Blood, Sugar and Sex Magic was certainly a very iconic release. It's held in high esteem and listened to by a lot of people. I mean, you hear Under the Bridge and, you know, a lot on like mainstream radio stations too.
Oh yeah, in a world where pop is now more of a technological endorsed sex material, you'll still find Red Hot Chili Peppers on many radio stations just because they're classic, and I don't know many people who don't like the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
No, they have like a nice groove, you know, it's not too heavy in parts, it's not too light. You know, when you pick up the rest of the album, like, you get like, you know, a bit of taste, like a bit of everything might appeal to you.
It's rock, but just different variations of rock.
Yeah, that's true, and you know, did you know for the album after Blood, Sugar, Sex Magic do, which we'll get to, did they enlist a different producer?
No, it's been Rick Rubin ever since Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I think I even up to till today.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, there have been some changes since Blood Sugar Sex Magic, but not produced.
The big one. Yeah, obviously with John Frusciante leaving.
He couldn't handle the success. He was never expecting. He said he was happy just to play in pubs and clubs, and there was getting some tension between him and Anthony Kiedis, and he was also starting a drug habit behind the scenes, and he wouldn't. He was like, then he started blocking everyone out besides his girlfriend. And he started playing stuff differently on stage.
Jeez,
He just wasn't ready for it.
So like, there's like the Chili Peppers feel like blights, like like drug problems, like the whole career.
Yeah, I mean, many members were kicked out due to these, and Anthony Kiedis himself back in the 80s had a drug problem, and I think after Blood Sugar Sex Magic, before One Hot Minute, the album we'll get to in a bit, he went to a dentist and Valium was used. It's a addictive drug, and he had a relapse. And he started drug taking, so I think he'd be using drugs before he went into the studio, which he can. It's a very strange album.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot different from Blood Sugar Sex Magic. This actually came like 4 years after that album. It's not like a recurring theme like that point onwards a lot of times.
So before, and they've been going through many. I guess it's like a before and after Blood Sugar Sex Magic. They've been going through many members to get a complete lineup, and then after John Frusciante leaves, they go for another couple of guys to finish the tour off, because they were on a world tour at the time when he left. They were in Japan when he left. And
he wouldn't have caught his seeing the tour out, surely.
He just wasn't enjoying it, he couldn't handle it. And then...
I guess it's not for everybody.
No, and then by end of 1993, they got Dave Navarro, who had just left Jane's Addiction, and he was first shown in 1994 at Woodstock. And I don't know...
Great show, Woodstock back in the day.
He didn't click with the band either, because it took them a lot longer to write music and
I mean I don't know, I think some people like the main consensus that Dave Navarro wasn't the guitarist like John Frusciante.
Dave Navarro wasn't into funk.
No, it's like because like the songs on like One Hot Minute, like they do have elements of like what the sound would be, but the more
it's like just rock, some like My Friends.
Yeah, absolutely, which we're an alternative tune and drop D.
Oh, is it? I don't know.
Too, but I see what you mean, because like with like the previous album, Mother's Blood Sugar, like you get like a lot of diversity. But with One Hot Minute, like straight up rock, you got songs like Coffee Shop Aeroplane.
The whole writing process just went. It was taking longer for him to write songs. Like this is what Anthony Kiedis said that's what he loved about John Frusciante. It was just easy to write songs with him, and
it's just about the chemistry. And obviously, Dead Rowdy didn't have
like
about
rock
chemistry.
It's just good, simple, great music.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see why like Dave Navarro only lasted for one album, I suppose.
Yeah, well, he lasted until 1998, I guess, but I don't know. There was a bit of a tension afterwards.
How did the tour for One Hot Minute last as long as what Blood Sugar Sex Magic did? Would you say?
I don't think as much. Well, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't as commercially success. I mean, it's critically acclaimed, a good album. I like some of the tracks. I mean, it's a bit different because of how long. Seeing as Anthony Kiedis was having troubles with his drug problems and Dave Navarro wasn't clicking, Flea started doing a lot of work on. He started writing.
Yeah, really like an instrumental song. Needs to do that.
Yeah, and he also did his own track, and he's singing on it as well. He took up vocal on a track called P, and the lyrics are just very angry. Just I'm a P. It's like saying it's like a small person. There's a lot of
tension.
Yeah, a lot of tension. A lot of bad language used on it.
Yeah, which sounds like some sort of like summed the band up at that time.
I guess nothing was complete. Nothing was work. I mean, music wise, it was alright, but just not as well as it had been before.
I mean, like, the top in Blood Sugar Sex Magic is going to be hard, a lot of people, like, weren't into One Hot Minute as much because there wasn't much, like, diversity.
Later on in their career, they topped Blood Sugar Sex Magic because the album after that is the best-selling album.
I know, because John Frusciante actually, like, returned to the fold after that
by personal request as well, from Flea, I think.
Wow, so I guess like Flea, is like authority in the band, became more prevalent in the mid-90s.
Well, it was him and Anthony Kiedis who had to take it in turns when it came to firing them. One day had to fire the drummer just before Chad Smith. Apparently Flea locked himself in a room for a couple of days, or just like wouldn't get out of bed because of how much it affected him. Because they do regret it, but the drummer was having drug problems and it set him on the way to sobriety.
Holy wow! So would you say like out of all the bands Gus had, the Red Hot Chili Peppers star is like the most interesting in like our time period?
Well, you say our time period, they're still going, but I mean Nirvana's probably got more diverse.
Yeah, but in terms of the general lineup change and
definitely
tension, strife within the band.
I mean, Faith No More, as I mentioned it, they've had quite a few lineup changes since since they started. But
yeah, Chip Mosley might have.
Chili Peppers hell of a lot.
Yeah, it seemed like like a running clean, but I don't think it really affects the music. Regardless of what some people may think, I think One Hot Minute's up there. It has elements of the album after that, and I really enjoy that more like straightforward sound.
Well, Red Hot Chili Peppers since Blood Sugar Sex Magic have never stopped pushing out a great album.
Nah, it seems like, like they just have like something like even throughout all their darkest times they can still produce something of significant quality, I suppose.
And just even a double album, there's a bit of a risky thing in the music business today, which we will be discussing later on in the week with one of our bands that we're reviewing. but that was a hit. That album.
Yeah, I mean, like, double album's always a risk, you know, and, you know, obviously the Chili Peppers handled it well. You know, like, you know, they still have, like, a lot of, like I was saying, like, you know, in terms of, like, One Hot Minute being, like, different, you know, it's, like, obviously, like, some people are going to enjoy albums, some people aren't. That's why some people don't enjoy albums.
That's why more people like Blood Sugar Sex Magic, just because it flows so well. It's just so much diversity.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, in terms of, like, overall production of the songs, you know, like, they're pretty good throughout, to be honest. You know, Rick Rubin is an excellent producer.
It takes you a while to get to the main tracks as well. You gotta wait. And you've got to experience that whole album before you get to give it away, which is about 8 or 9 tracks in, I guess.
That's true. I guess it's like with Chili Peppers saying, you know, we've got other material, like, these are our big songs, but we want you to listen to the other tracks as well.
And all other tracks are just as good.
Amen. You know, it's like, you know, the Chili Peppers, you know, certainly made some, like, you know, very, like, cool albums throughout this time period. You know, it's cool I got, like, an album this long start and an album finish, too. You know, like, overall their evolution's like, you know, the musicals, it's always been there, you know, it's like, it's a combination of funk and heavy metal. But, you know, just like lineup changes, although, I don't know, there's usually lineup changes, like, the sound's generally been, you know, it's not altered too much.
It's just been getting better ever since it was more rock. There's still rock today in the albums that they're pushing out, such with I'm With You in 2011, but it's just through the bass and just the connecting now, the band members have connected more and more, just been writing much better music.
And with funk rock, obviously, I think the bass would play a huge part in that.
Yeah, you're definitely the bass, what makes it the real funk in the music.
I mean, like, there's some points on, I think it's Suck My Kiss, like, you know, John Frusciante's, like, playing, like, the bass riff on guitar, and I think it works better, like, Flea's, you know, playing the funky riffs just on the bass.
Yeah.
I suppose. But, you know, don't take anything away from John Frusciante, you know, it's like, you know, like, that intro riff's Under the Bridge, you know, that's just so iconic.
It's just, that's one of the riffs when you're first playing guitar that you'll look to. I mean, you've got Deep Purple and you've got White Stripes, but then there's also Under the Bridge and Led Zeppelin, but then Red Hot Chili Peppers are there just because of how musically talented he was and how musically credited it is today.
Yeah, that's true, and, you know, like, the drug problems, like, they were a bit under the key, because, as I said, like, the music was still good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in One Hot Minute, it has affected the album.
Yeah, like, I don't think the band, like, was saying, were in the right place, but, you know, they're still part of quality, an album of, you know, so, like, responding against the critics, like, they're still part of an album of, like, you know, significant quality, I suppose.
And then they found, when John Frusciante came back, they really hit it.
They really pushed on from that point, you know, and, but, you know, overall, like, you know, Uplift, Murphy, Party Plan, Mother's Milk, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and One Hot Minute, you know, they're all vital Chili Peppers albums that, you know, most people would be fans of.
I say they're like a fine wine, as they only get better with age.
That's true.
Chili Peppers.
You know, like, as I was saying, like, you know, with, like, Soundgarden and other, because, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers is, like, a completely different beast, like, say, Soundgarden.
Completely different to any of the bands that were going over.
Yeah, I think it's like, it adds diversity to our alternative week, dude.
I mean, I said that Faith No More in the League of Their Own, but so Red Hot Chili Peppers. There aren't many bands who are like Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, there's some bands which have got fun, like Rage Against the Machine, stuff like that, but nothing in comparison.
Yeah, it's like an alternative, you know, it's so diverse. I mean, you could sort of like compare Faith No More to Chili Peppers in a way, just like, you know, Angel just be like the more straightforward rock sound, like on One Hot Minute.
More experimental music, more diverse vocal range.
Yeah, it's the same with Anthony Kiedis too. Now, his vocal range is more diverse, probably 80s material, but in terms of like the music, his music, you know, his refined vocal style fits with the diversity of the music instead of just his vocals.
Indeed.
Yes, it's so I think
I've got an interesting fact about, you know, when they were looking for guitarists before Dave Navarro, because they'd asked Dave Navarro before John Frusciante, but he was busy with other stuff. And
how come? Just curiosity, how come Dave Navarro left Jane's Addiction?
I'm not sure. I've not really listened to Jane's Addiction that much. I want to.
One song.
I've heard a couple of songs by him. Good song. It's good for that era. But they also asked Buckethead. Or he was one of the guys trying out.
Can you imagine Buckethead trying to make Chili Peppers sound?
Yeah, he was one of the guys trying out for the new place. But when Dave Navarro was it said that, oh yeah, he's free now. That's when
it's like with Jane's Addiction, like, you know, it was obviously like a heavy band. You know, I guess that, like, you know, incorporation, like, you know, more heavier styles on One Hot Minute were reflected by the fact that they'd been playing in a heavy band.
Yeah, pretty much his guitaring's influence for the band he was in before, because they were different at the time as well. Jane's Addiction.
They were, and obviously his work in Jane's Addiction more acclaimed, probably because he was like, you know, people got used to him. But you know, John Frusciante had been, you know, since Mother's Milk, and they put out 2 great albums. But I guess people like too used to, like, they didn't want change.
Yeah.
But that's probably why 1 Hot Minute isn't as revered as what it should be. But I think all in all, they're all like great albums. In general, like.
Yep.
They're all every album production wise is good, and you have like a good mixture of like your diversity and your more.
What would you say that your favourite Red Hot Chili Peppers album is? Talking from any period of Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Well, I don't know. I do really enjoy the album 1 Hot Minute, Californication.
I was going to agree with you. Californication is one of my favourite albums.
Yeah, but Blood Sugar Sex Magic, it captures like a nice vibe. It sounds like a nice, smooth, relaxing, and it's enjoyable ride.
Californication.
It does, yeah. I'd say that's more related to like the artwork.
I think those are two albums that people will fight against each other, which is the best.
Obviously, Californication out of our range, would you say Blood Sugar's the best one out of the range we're covering, man?
Definitely. It's just because commercial success. It's to see all the bands we're covering do have that album.
They do, like that one big standout album.
And it's sort of from the same
Although
time
later on, but
yeah.
we'll not spoil anything.
Well, I was just thought you meant Red Hot Chili Peppers and just saying later on, every album since then has just been big.
Yeah, it's like even the like Blood Sugar Sex Magic being like the mainstream. There's like a reluctance sometimes like go check out their early material from the 80s.
Indeed.
That's probably why I only listen to Vegas Uplift. But I got a general vibe from it, so.
Indeed. It's just that Red Hot Chili Peppers are one of the most influential bands I think we have today, just with the music that they produce.
It depends like all genres, even like the more mainstream pop artists, they'll regard Red Hot Chili Peppers like highly. Because for all their like diversity of sounds, probably because of Blood Sugar. During
the gap between John Frusciante leaving and John Frusciante returning, they've also done a cover of a track called Love Roller Coaster.
Which featured on the soundtrack to Beavis and Butthead Do It America.
So they're also experimenting back in those days.
I think that succeeded to 1 Hot Minute just.
Yeah, just because it was a popular song to start with, and just Anthony Kiedis' cool affected vocals and into Flea's bass.
It sounds like some weird instrument in it.
Yeah, it's just some cool brass instruments from back from the original song, and they just adapted to it. It was very suitable for them.
I mean, it's like, that song sounds absolutely nothing like anything they've ever done before.
But on the film, it's more of the original track than what the Red Hot Chili Peppers track is.
I was like, there begins something do instrument or something. Like, I don't know. But yeah, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers' Love Roller Coaster is one hell of a crazy song.
It's a great song, great video as well.
Yeah, it's got Beavis and Butthead in it. What more could you want?
It's all the artwork as well, just them morphed into that artwork, back into the naked persona of Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, no, and like the experimentation, like Marshall gets 1 Hot Minute is really prevalent in that song. But you can see why it doesn't really fit the flow of 1 Hot Minute, does it really?
No.
Because that's like a more conventional Chili's album.
It's just more suitable to the Chili's as themselves.
Yeah, like, you can sort of see what is and what shouldn't be on a Chili's album.
They're just crazy, just Flea's done more than just music. He's been in films as well. He's in Back to the Future 1, 2 and 3, I think he's in all of them, and he's in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas film, which is after this time period we're talking about.
Wow, that's really good, dude. And you could show like the musical diversity of like the band. You can see why it's revered as like one of the greatest bass players ever.
I guess.
Because like they say, he could play guitar too, kind of.
I'm not sure. Because the Peace song is pretty much bass. I don't know if there's any guitar.
Did you mention like he played like another instrument at some point too?
I'm not sure.
Oh, it must be me then.
In the crazy world of Red Hot Chili Peppers.
You can expect anything from these guys. So yeah, guys, I think that just about sums Red Hot Chili Peppers up. Certainly, would you say like the most mainstream out of the bands we've covered so far?
Definitely the most well, besides Nirvana today.
Yeah.
From today's perspective, at that time, I guess, Red Hot Chili Peppers are. Well, I know grunge was the mainstream, but I think Red Hot Chili Peppers are more popular as a band because not one of them really stands out from the other. You look at the main four. You look at, I guess Flea does, but you look at the main four, and then you think of Nirvana, most people just think of Kurt Cobain.
They do. I think it's cool, like the Chili Peppers, you Kiedis, you Frusciante, you Flea and you Smith.
I mean, they do have more of a discography in a long time, but I mean, Red Hot Chili Peppers have sold around 80 million records today.
I guess it's like, the comparison to Nirvana, it was just like one album, it's like real looked
just because of the talent in their music and the inspiration, just how good their music is, it just sells.
Yeah, I mean, there's like influence for like everything like going on.
That's pretty much Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, hope you've all enjoyed this review, guys and gals, and this has been review number 5, I believe.
Indeed.
That means we're halfway there to achieving our goal of 10 bands. So, yeah, guys and gals, hope you've all enjoyed this review, and so until review number 6, I have been Jonny Middleton.
And I have been Travis Ward.
Hope you've all enjoyed, and so until then, stay strong, hardy boy guns. That's what I've been doing at the beginning, the guns. I'm not, doing anything explicit or anything.
Jeff and Matt Hardy from...
We are the Hardy Boys. I'm Jeff, he's Matt.
Sure, why not?
He's got long brown hair, I have like the different coloured thing. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this review, guys and gals. And so until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and we shall see y'all in the future forever. Much love. Peace.
Yes.